Welcome to the Imperial Grandstand. I'm Alan Imperial,
I'm Carlos Del Rosario.
and today we're going to be talking about the eighth episode of Star Trek Picard, Broken Pieces.
Broken Pieces. Here we go.
But, oh man, I'm going to talk about what the episode really should have been named a little later.
Oh yes, absolutely.
All right, let's open up the premiere.
By the way, spoilers.
Always spoilers. So,
Like it's a breakdown. It's the eighth episode by now of Picard, so it's like, yeah, you should know better.
you should know what's up, but just in case.
Yeah.
So we start off on this world, Aya, the grief world.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect there. That's a
Happiness.
why would you want to call it the grief world? I would want to go to like Teddy Bear Junction. That would actually be creepier. Like just oh actually no, that's a Star Wars thing. Just a planet filled with teddy bears. They're vicious. It's technically a moon, but yeah.
All right. So there was a civilization that perished long ago, and this is actually 14 years from where we are.
Yeah, so a little before the attacks on Mars.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here we have Ramda, the Borg.
Yeah,
Slash,
the
excuse me, XB.
the XB, yeah.
Yeah, on the artifact.
On the artifact.
And then here we have
Narissa?
Narissa. I was gonna say Narek's sister, but correct, but she has a name.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, it's Commodore O.
Commodore O,
What's
yes.
she doing with the Romulans?
Yeah.
And here, it's not a great shot, but Narissa is the first person to touch this little green thing in the background.
Yeah, what's this thing called? The admonition or
Admonition.
yeah, and it's just
It
it's
gives you visions of a volcano.
visions of things, and it's like and
baby.
it kind of drives some people insane,
Yeah.
but it gives a clue as to why the Jat Vash was created and why they really dislike synthetics.
Yeah. And I love this cut where you have the synth and then you dissolve into data.
Yes.
And it's great because it's like, this is actually why they're all freaking out. And we've seen this before, the destruction of a planet.
Yeah.
So basically, this is where the Jat Vas got their, I guess, their origin.
Yes. Yes.
And here you have Narissa standing tall, and the other, I guess, initiates. I don't know what you call them.
Yeah, initiates. You know, this scene kind of reminds me of something from fantasy, like a Dragon Age or like an Elder Scrolls
Yeah.
or something, where you just have a coven of witches. And by the way, all female. Yeah,
They call themselves a sisterhood.
they call themselves a sisterhood. Yeah, and it's just and Narissa is the only one that was not driven insane and didn't want to really kill herself.
Yeah, like literally, the next shot is somebody just offing themselves.
Yes.
Here is a crazy rage. I'm gonna beat myself over the head.
Yes.
And
Yeah, this shot always gets me because it's like we know that Vulcans and Romulans have green blood, but it's like to have a vision that
you
crazy
just tear
that
your
you
skin
want
open.
to tear your skin apart. Yeah, I've
We've all been
it's
there.
it's very effective in flashes. Yeah,
And then Ramda is literally pulling out her hair.
pulling out her
And
hair.
I used to have very long hair. And ow!
But you know, as far as it goes, you know, Ramda compared to the others got off light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you just have Nursa crying, and it's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And Commodore Orr is like, yeah, we're gonna stop them.
Yeah.
And here we find out that they're related.
Yes, yeah. Ramda is the aunt, and we find out that she is the guardian of both Narek and Narissa when their parents passed away.
Yeah. And this is still in the before the credits, and we jump into this medical bay, and we find out that, that Ramda actually broke the cube because
Yeah, because of
of the vision.
she absorbed everything from that civilization, that vision, and that vision was so terrible that the Borg were like, nope, nope, we're not having any of this. And it's, I think, partially because that vision would spread like
A
a
virus.
virus to the rest of the collective, and like we're not having any of that.
I don't have it pulled up here, but it goes with the second appearance of Hugh,
Hmm.
where they literally cut off a cube for the greater good.
Yes, yes, it's Descent Part 1 and 2. That's towards the sixth, the end of the sixth season into the seventh season, and that's what the Borg does. It's logical. It's like, nope, nope, this is gonna infect the rest of the collective. We need to just cut them off.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
And here you just have Nurse, so it's like I would have made a better Borg than you.
Yeah, she probably would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, now we jump to where Space Legolas is.
Yes, yes. Elnor. He's fending off the Romulans, the Zhat Vash on the artifact, and he called for backup, and
And we get the
here
backup.
comes a 7 of 9, and she's wondering where Hugh is.
Yeah,
Now,
she's gonna find out.
yeah, she's gonna find out. But you know what? Like, I've seen Jonathan Del Arco, who plays Hugh, and and Jerry Ryan a lot in interviews, and they seem to be really good friends. And I
Yeah.
was kind of expecting them to have some interesting scenes together. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
No, he's just bled out somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe they'll meet up in a
Somewhere
backup
homing.
because we know they've met up before. But it's like, oh man, I really wanted to, see their conversations, because Hugh is kind of a proto 7 of 9, really the template that they used. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's actually brought up in Voyager, so you would have thought, but
yeah,
unfortunately, not meant to be.
yeah,
And here, just with absolute candor, uh, Elnor is just
yeah,
hugging
yeah.
Seven.
Again, Elnor, he's a deadly person, but at the same time, he's very childlike, and
Yeah.
he's very naive, and it's like, no, you never had to kill this many people at once. It's a sadness.
And he also lost Hugh,
He
so
lost.
it's doubly hurtful.
Yes.
And yeah, she becomes a mother or a queen.
Yeah.
And now we jump to La Serena,
La Serena. Yeah.
and this look by Rios is amazing because this is the first time he gets to see Soji.
Soji, and he's freaked out. We don't know why yet, but he's like, it's like, is he on drugs? What's happening? And in the previous episode, a lot of things happened on the ship.
Yeah.
Dr. Girardi is revealed to be
Spy.
the spy, and she's right now in a medically induced coma, and they've been trying to shake off the Romulan Narek for quite some time.
And this is something I wasn't expecting, where Rios are just like, you're on your own once we get to DS-12.
Yes, Deep Space 12.
Yeah.
You're trying to fight Deep Space Nine, right? Yeah.
I was. I was.
Yes.
That's why I said DS-12, because if I said Deep Space, this would have been 9. Because 7 of 9, and
Yes.
blah blah
yes,
blah.
I gotcha.
But it's like, whoa, he's abandoning them.
Yeah.
After just seeing Dr. Soji Asha.
Mm-hmm.
And here Rafi's just really pissed at Picard.
Yeah. To me, this is empty threat. It's like, it's her with a gun again, and it's like, she's not gonna. Every time she pulls a gun on Picard, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, Picard's like, if you're gonna kill Soji, you have to shoot me
every time. And it's like
down.
every time, and it's like, okay, I know that she's coming down from like drinking for like a week
and smoking.
She was, but it's like, I mean, yeah, she just doesn't trust Soji, and like Girardi. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But it's like, and Girardi, she tried with her, but it turned out that she was the betrayer. So yeah.
And so Picard's like, "What's up?"
Yeah,
and they go to medical, and here the EMH explains how there was a Verdium tracker.
Yeah, a Verdium tracker that Dr. Girardi had ingested. That
Yeah,
this is actually a
a callback.
reference, yeah, a
Yeah.
callback to
So in Undiscovered Country, Spock put something on Captain Kirk, and it just looks like Velcro.
yes, yes. And as it turns out, that was a Viridium tracker.
Yep.
Eventually, Kirk is sentenced to be in the mines of Rura Pente in that movie, but he escapes, and this is how the Enterprise is able to track him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so here we just get a shot of what are they gonna do with her because she did disrupt the tracker, but she did kill Maddox.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, "What's up? You got some exposition, lady."
So here we have Admiral.
Admiral Clancy.
Yep.
Like, oh, you know what? I've just really grown accustomed to her just like cursing nonsensically, and she does it again,
Yeah.
and it's like,
She's
but it's like,
she's insulting Picard here.
yeah, you don't hear that word often enough. Kizotic.
Kizotic?
Yeah. Yes. And but it's yeah.
And there it is.
Yeah, there it is. It's a tense thing, but it's like, but Clancy comes to her senses, and she's not a totally bad admiral. She's like, all right, fine. You get your squadron. They're gonna meet you at Deep Space 12.
Yeah, don't leave.
Yeah,
And
stay where you are.
That's the literal order.
Yeah, but
And Picard's like,
yeah, all
you're
right,
in.
yeah.
And now Rafi has to talk to every hologram.
Yes,
And
yes.
something I love is just the eyes when
Yeah,
they're accessing the computer.
accessing. Yeah, this is something they didn't really do in the other shows, Voyager. But it's like, oh, okay, yeah, they're processing, and that's nice. But yeah, I was kind of waiting for this moment where it's like, okay, how many holograms are there?
Yeah.
And we need to have them all in one room.
That's gonna happen.
But there it feels that the holograms that have splintered from Rios's personality, they all have pieces of Rios's past,
Yep.
but they all can't access it.
Yeah, like here, they know Soji's on board, but he confuses her with this person Jana. And
Yes.
we'll get into that a little later, but
Yes.
yeah, it's a little thing.
Yeah, and I learned a new word, an octenary.
Yeah, that's it's like a binary system.
Yeah.
Which has 2 suns, but here it has 8.
Yeah.
And this is going off of the picture that
Yes.
Soji was drawing on the artifact.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they're basically trying to find it, and the only place this navigator could find it is in an apocryphal text,
Yeah.
like the apocalypse, which is what the Zat Vast, basically is trying to prevent. So that's a good exposition for Rafi, because now she knows. Oh wait, this is the end of the world for at least the Romulans or universe.
Well, I don't know if apocryphal actually means apocalyptic.
What does it mean? That was off the top of my head. Dang it.
Hold on. Okay, well, just continue. Yeah.
It might be very old.
Yeah, or just maybe hearsay or just mythical. Of doubtful authenticity, although widely circulated as being true.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Mythical would be,
mythical. Yeah. And here they talk about the Conclave of 8, and that was brought up in a previous episode.
Yes.
And now they're putting the pieces together where Rafi's being a Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, what if it's not about the people, but it's about where
the 8 stars are?"
Happens.
Yeah.
And this is just great for this.
Yeah, I know. You know
navigator.
what? I got to give Santiago Cabrera a lot of credit, because it's like, I forget that he's one actor playing like 6 roles, and it's like, and all of them are different. Like, oh yeah, like they all have their own touches, and it's like, yes, the navigational hologram. Yeah, he is
a softie.
Yeah, he's a softie. I like him. He's got that ethereal Irish accent.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So here we jump back to the artifact with
Narissa, yeah.
and it's the Fenris Rangers, and she knows which Fenris Ranger it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Boom,
Yes.
and and Elnor is just like, "Oh, is this where the Queen lived?" And Saturn's like, "You brought me here for a reason. I have work to do."
You know, I she says that as like, look, I could answer your questions or I could save the cube.
Yeah.
And it's like, I honestly just want her to answer questions. I
Screw the
mean,
cube.
I don't really know anyone else on the cube now. Maybe Ramda, but besides that, it's like, no. Answer more board questions, please.
Yes. So Narissa is talking to, I guess, her number one,
Yeah, her lieutenant or whoever.
and he just comes up with the great idea of blow the seals and jettison them.
Yeah.
And it's like, because they're afraid of the board, the
Yeah.
XBs, excuse me, for some reason.
Yes.
I'd be afraid of them
Well,
too.
I think with proper precautions, the Borg could actually survive in the vacuum of space.
Yeah, they did in the movies.
Yeah, in First Con. Now, I don't know if those were Borg were especially modified or if all Borg could do that, but
You would think they would adapt eventually.
they've been known to adapt.
Yes. And so Seven's doing her thing,
Yeah.
and and the Borg cube starts regenerating. It's a really pretty scene.
Yeah.
It's like whoever did the CG on this.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, that's yeah, the prop and effects people, they should really be commended. Like this is some top tier stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to play it, but I can't.
Yeah. Here we go. All right.
So now we jump back to La Serena.
Yeah, this
And
is a lovely scene. Like, and I really like the quiet scenes, the character building scenes. I think I like those a lot in this show. But
yeah,
but
it's
a heart
great.
to heart between Soji and Picard.
It's kind of heartbreaking here because Picard's asking, "Oh, do you like it?" And Soji's just like, "There's a vacuum inside of me, and I don't know how to answer that." And that comes back a little later, but it's just like,
Yes,
"Oh,
it's
you
like
don't even know what your favorite
to
food is."
doubt everything about yourself.
And Soji's is being very doubtful, obviously,
Yes.
and Picard's just being Picard. We're like, "No, you have a past.
And
You have a story."
Data is the past, and
Yeah.
we see what he thinks about Data, and I could hear Picard talk about Data all day. So this is one of my favorite scenes. Is like,
Yeah. He just calls Data was brave, curious. He was funny, except when he tried to make them laugh.
oh yeah, well that's what happens when you take comedy tips from Joe Piscopo, man. It's yeah, that's
We
what
brought
that's
that up already, but yes.
yeah, like that's terrible advice.
Yeah. And I love how Soji's just like, "Oh, and you loved him,
Yes.
and he loved you," and it's just, aw,
Yeah.
because they would have sacrificed each other
Yeah.
for each other.
Well,
Well, he did, but
Picard mentions that he and Data both had problems expressing emotions.
yeah,
And oh, especially in those first two seasons, the both of them were like basically like robots. And then the Borg came along and just now you see Picard's human after all.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, before that it's like I would not have said that Picard was my favorite captain, but like yeah, it's but Picard I think always and TNG always had a problem expressing uh his emotions, and as a captain, you can't be that open.
no, you have to be willing to put the crew secondary when it comes to the safety of the ship
Yes,
and the mission.
yes,
So, yep, yeah. So it's just nice seeing how both Data and Picard helped each other grow emotionally.
oh yes,
Yeah, and here we get the emergency engineering hologram.
hologram, and of course he's Scottish because the best engineers are always Scottish. What Scotsman played a Scottish engineer? The name escapes me, but
Man,
if you know, just just type it into the comments.
what Scottish person?
Transparent aluminum.
Yes.
Uh, But I'm really glad we had captions because I could not understand him.
It's not even a language.
It's- and all right, and he talks about, and it's something we alluded to earlier, but that parts of Rios' psyche is kind of split into these different holograms, and uh, uh, yeah, Rafi has the bright idea of
What
bringing
if?
them all together.
Yeah, and here she's just trying to piece it together. Where, why would you make a system with 8 stars? Because
Yeah,
this this engineer here knows. Yeah, that's pretty much impossible.
yes, that's
And she's like, oh, it's
impossible,
a
and it's like, it
warning.
has to be for better of lack of word, man-made or artificial.
Artificial, I think, is
Yeah,
the best word. It was created, yeah, artificially,
yes.
because they don't know the name of the race.
Hmm.
Now, here's the hospitality,
Yeah,
and he's doing a great job because Rafi was like, yeah, make sure I don't order any drinks.
drinks. You turned off the
You turned off alcohol in this, and you
and
said
it's like,
you can't override this or override the meta.
or use the meta override. And oh, by the way, like, what's up with this hospitality hologram? He's always so close. He's always invading your space a bit too much. I'm like, buddy, boundaries. Look at
Take
that.
take a step back.
Take slow your roll.
Like,
Well, you're making the lady uncomfortable.
you're making me uncomfortable, bro. Like, look at this. This is normal.
Yeah. All right. Great.
All right. So here
We go
we
to Rios's
cabin,
quarters. Yeah.
and we get the
Bunch of existential books.
the tragic sense of life we already talked about. A bunch of others,
I was expecting some Hello Kitty, but not there.
and here we get this awesome book
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Sarek.
Well, I think it's about Surak.
Surak, not Sarek. Thank you.
Yeah, and Surak, that's a pretty deep cut. He is, I would say, the father of the Vulcan logician movement. Before, Vulcans were a very violent, emotional race, and then Surak came in. It's like, no, y'all got to cool off. We're gonna go straight logic now, and that's going to be the philosophy. And this is from the original series. Spock really liked him, and he shows up in an episode. I think it was the Savage Curtain. Lincoln's in
Yeah, and
it.
then again, he's brought up again in TNG
TNG, yeah, he's brought up quite a bit.
because they talk about the history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
yeah, he would have some thoughts on existentialism. Sure. Yeah, I don't doubt that.
oops.
Oh, yeah, a little bit into Rios's cigar box.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
has his old uniform.
yeah. Old uniform
He has this picture of a
picture.
captain
Who
because they're the
was
Pips.
who was like a father figure to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's just being introspective there.
Yes.
Now, here we jump back to the artifact where we have Seven and Elnor,
Mhm.
and Elnor basically says the worst thing you could say to an XP, which is, "Oh, let's bring the Borgs back and have them all be talking to each other, a kind of a micro collective."
Well,
Well, Elnor brings up the idea, and
yeah,
Seven,
DNA Seven's resistant, but it's like to save all of them,
yeah,
you got to create that micro collective, and
and she knows it's enslaving them
it's enslaving
because
them,
that's her
removing
point of
their
view.
individuality, and she is diametrically opposed to it. At the same time, that's the only way to save them, and uh,
She's afraid of her own power.
yeah, yeah, she may not want to release them. This is kind of like, here's the ring. I was like, no, Frodo, I can't do it.
Yeah, because when you become the queen, can you really give up the crown?
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's now we often see, especially in this show, the Borg as victims, but especially when you just leave the collective, It's like, no, no, you had purpose and understand you are connected to something larger than yourself,
Yeah.
and to be separated from that could be devastating. So that's,
To
you
be
know,
to
that's
to to
that's a
be assimilated and broken from the collective twice.
yeah,
Oof.
that could be terrible. Yeah, so there's a lot more nuance to the Borg this time around.
Yeah. So here is what you've been waiting for, Carlos.
Yes.
Now, I just love how they all
They're
bob
like,
their
come
heads.
on, like it's the information's there.
Yeah.
Can't bring, but they bring up Jana and the Rios's old captain.
And how a thing happened, and it's like, what whole thing?
It's like they can't remember. They
Yeah.
just know Jana. Ibn
Yeah. And if something happened on the
Majid, yeah,
thank you.
yeah. I think he was the navigator on Vasco da Gama's ship.
All right.
Yeah.
So, uh, Doc, Agnes wakes
Yes.
up. Girardi, there we go.
Mhm.
And Picard gives her the breakdown of, hey, listen, we're not being tracked anymore, but you have to surrender when we get to
And she is
DS-12.
in total agreement. She
Yeah,
killed someone, and she feels there's someone that she admired and loved. She
yeah.
she killed,
And
and
she now explains why she did it.
yeah,
And I've never heard of a mind meld called poison before.
it can be. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's like
because she had to see the vision of the synths
yes,
destroying a previous generation or previous
yes,
civilization.
yes.
You know, and this just hurts where it's like, ah,
It's because of those visions. She's suicidal.
yeah. And we saw what happened at the beginning of the episode where, you know, uh, one of those in the sisterhood actually did off themselves.
Yeah,
So it's like, ah,
yeah. A number of them did. Yeah.
yeah, heartbreaking. And now we have what it's all boiled down to, where it's Soji is the destroyer. I can't pronounce that. Cheneb.
Seb Cheneb. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now we find out that Captain Vandermeer is a father figure
Yes,
to
yes.
Rios.
The captain of Rios's old ship when he was back in Starfleet.
Yeah,
They made first contact with two beings,
yeah,
but they received an order
yeah,
to kill these two beings from Starfleet security. I assume it's Commodore O.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that, but something I just want to mention. It makes sense that she doesn't know what a record player is.
Yeah, they're playing like some Billie Holiday in the background,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, is that a Walkman? I'm like, you know what? You might think that's dumb, but it's like, no, this is technology from like 400 years ago. I wouldn't know. So that's she's in the right century. I'll give her that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah. So they just talk about how uh, yeah, he used to be a father figure, and they do jump cuts or parallel cutting between them and Agnes and Soji talking,
Yes.
and Girardi's just like, this is
She's
everything.
amazed. Like her
This is
whole life has been leading to this moment.
yeah, and it's like, do you sleep? And she's just so happy. It's like, oh, you sleep every
Yeah.
night.
And it's like, and it's nice to see her smiling. I mean, she just spoke of constant suicidal
Yes,
thoughts. So
yeah.
it's like,
Suicidal ideation hurts.
yeah.
Hurts the soul, hurts the brain, and it's like, oh, she's just so happy that Soji's like drinks when she's thirsty. Something that I never really think about besides, oh, I need some water. But here it's like, oh, this is like art,
Yes.
and it's just she's just so happy.
Yeah.
Look at that face.
Yes.
And here we get into the diplomatic mission
Mhm.
between Captain Vandermeer and those people who come aboard.
Mhm.
I think one of them is called a beautiful flower,
Yes.
and the other one is called Jana.
Jana. Yes.
Yeah. And here we just go back to uh, Agnes just calling her
art, but the crux is she a person? This is some this goes back to the measure of a man.
Yeah,
Yes,
because two of the three is there.
for personhood. Yes.
You know. Oh, look at that! Like just dead eyes. Am I? Wow. And then we jump back to how Vandermeer had to kill Jana and Flower in cold blood because he is it's a black flag directive, so it has to be Commodore or
Yeah.
you know. And oh,
And he pulled
and
the trigger. Yeah.
and and the thing I skipped was that he pulls the trigger on himself because Rios is just kind of berating him, saying, "Oh, why did you do this?"
Yes.
Because he still has the whole Starfleet mentality.
Oh yes. Yes. And yeah, the guilt of that captain killing those two innocent people is like he can't live with himself.
Yeah.
Yes. And then
And then he had to cover it all up because the directive was given, yeah, if you don't cover it all up, everybody else dies. The ship gets destroyed.
yeah, so I understand why Rios is disillusioned with Starfleet. That's terrible.
Yeah. There's a reason why he's going into like existential dread. Mm. And then, boom, he's kicked out 6 months later
Yep.
for post traumatic dysphoria.
Yes.
But he just says he's broken. So this is why he freaked out when he first saw Soji.
Yes, Jana has a striking resemblance to Soji and Dodge.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Battlestar Galactica, or at least that's my theory,
Yes.
where there are many copies.
Yes.
So, uh, and the reason I think this is that we'll get there. I actually have it saved.
Uh-huh.
And then we jump to the Borg cube.
Borg cube. Narissa's taking down a bunch of the XBs. Um.
Yeah, she basically kills them all, or kills as many as she can.
Yes.
But Ramda is still in medical.
Yeah, she's around. Yeah.
And you can't see it here, but this used to be all lit up in green, and then dots start going away.
Yes. We start seeing they're getting a real time feed of
Their life signs.
the life signs. Yes.
And all that question of, oh, is this the right thing to do? Is this the wrong thing to do?
Yeah. Well, it's like
People are
they get
XBs are now dying.
yes.
So.
And so yeah. Seven does what she's always feared, and like she's become the Borg queen of at least this cube.
Yeah.
And
oh, bone chilling.
yeah. It's a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, it's like been waiting for this for like all season since I knew how the artifact played out, and 7 of 9 was coming. Well, Jerry Ryan.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
But just at that exact moment, yeah, they open up.
They jettison.
They jettison.
The XPs
yeah,
into space.
a bunch of the Borg.
And of course, because she's connected, she's literally feeling them all die.
Yes.
So not only is she losing, colleagues, but she's feeling their deaths in that moment.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, you don't know what you're doing. Or maybe they do.
Yeah.
So we find out that Dr. Girardi is now done murdering people.
That's nice. That's always a good thing.
So we don't know if she thinks Soji's a person, but she found her own humanity. She reclaimed it. And this is why I think it's very Battlestar Galactica, because earlier in the episode, Soji doesn't know what she likes. But here, Rios is like, you're going to like french fries and peppermint.
Yes.
And it's like, how did you know? and it's like, oh, there's time for to tell you later, but first we gotta take care of business. And they talk about how just like there's a threshold from going from pre-warp to warp civilization.
Yes, yes. So if you recall in Star Trek First Contact, when the human race was able to go to warp, that was a signal to races, namely the Vulcans, that, oh wait, this civilization's ready for First Contact. Now, going to have synthetics that are on the even playing field as humans and other
Sentient
sentient
life.
races.
Yep.
It's just, oh, that's a signal to someone else. We don't know who, but yeah, yeah. It's
Somebody
it may
shows up.
somebody shows up, and we don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
kind of reminds me of Mass Effect.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Every 100,000 years or something? Anyway, uh, so they come to the conclusion that
Uh huh.
the Jat Vash is there for terminating all synthetic life,
All synthetic life before that moment happens. So
and we find out that there's the Romulans send in a half Romulan, half Vulcan.
yeah, so 40 years before this, Data and I assume Laura created and the Jat Vash they're freaking out. So they need someone in Starfleet to handle this. So
Yeah,
that's I suppose that's when O she enlists in a Starfleet.
yeah, and we know that they allow uh, Romulan slash whatever race into Starfleet because of that Crucible episode.
Well, allow no he like if you recall he actually had to hide
That's right.
his Romulan parentage, but O apparently is half Romulan, half Vulcan, so that explains why she could do a mind meld.
Right.
Yeah, because as far as I know, Romulans do not have that ability.
Yeah. And then she rises through the ranks and becomes head of security. And she puts the kibosh on
Yeah,
any synth research.
and he sent the research, so that was she was on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's surmised here that oh yeah she was the real reason there was an attack on Mars and the Romulans as well
Yes.
by proxy. Oh, not by proxy. That was their order.
Hmm.
And yeah, they just talk about Jana,
Hmm.
and it's amazing how once she's activated, all these memories start pouring out because yeah, she just knows now.
Hmm.
And in what 5 minutes, she just hacks the ship,
Yeah.
and there's just Rafi and Rios like, "What the heck, girl?"
And it's something Data would have done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Data could do that. He's hacked the ship before. It was crazy. I love that episode.
yeah, so Soji's just saying how, "Hey, I need to get home, and I know where the Borg transwarp conduit network is."
Yeah.
And that's a deepish cut if you didn't watch Voyager,
Yeah.
because that's
That's
how the Borg got around.
yeah. They had nodes all around the galaxy. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's partially how Voyager got home. Spoiler for that too.
Ah. So she just says how she just suddenly knows things,
Yes.
and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're activated. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
As soon as she knows more about Jana, yeah,
Yeah.
she's activated even more.
Yeah.
All right.
Or the memory gets unlocked,
Yeah.
and Rios just starts speaking in Spanish,
Yeah.
and you
He
don't know
starts
why.
singing a lullaby.
Yeah. And it's basically his override,
Yes.
because here he just does the uh what is that? What's that Tom Cruise movie? Minority Report.
Minority Report. Yeah. Let's.
And oh my gosh,
Picard is back in the captain's seat, but and he's galvanized at the same time. He's like, he doesn't have to do this.
that's not a ship.
Look here, Granddad. This is how you use an iPhone.
So, and Rios is just, I think he's more pissed that Soji didn't like batten down the hatches, as it were, to
Yeah,
go into the transwarp conduit.
yeah, they're doing it. It's like, but just do the safety checks first.
Yeah,
I mean, that's cool.
and he's like, "Listen, what does Iha mean? Is that like little
Yeah, little
niece?"
little child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, "This is my ship," and it's like, "Please take me home."
Yes.
And yeah, he does. So here we go back to the Borg cube,
Borg cube, and
and oh, it's
they
Terrans.
found they found the coordinates to the synthetic homeworld,
Yeah,
and Narissa, she's attacked by some XBs, but she manages to escape.
yeah, there it is.
Uh,
Now,
and now they're on their way. They're on their way. They're all going to the same place.
yeah, it's over. The cube is theirs again, and I love how she's like, Annika still has work to do
Yeah, and it's like, oh,
because
oh,
Elnor's like, am I gonna be assimilated now?
and it's just, and it's interesting that as the Borg Queen, she it's like refers to herself in the
Third,
third person. Like Annika has work to do. I was like, she's the Borg Queen, and she still has her individuality.
yeah, and boom, she's back
She's
because the
back.
eyes
Yeah,
are normal. And here you just have Rios and Picard talking about Vandermeer and
Vandermeer.
other captains.
And this is Picard doing some Picard stuff, doing what he does best, his speech making,
Yep,
and that the Jat Vosh and Vandermeer, they succumb to fear and
and how Starfleet betrayed them
betrayed them.
because they went against their moral compass.
But they know better.
Yeah, because they have Picard, the
They
space
have
wizard.
Picard. They have hope
Yes,
and optimism, and that's what Picard wants to bring with him.
yeah. He just talks about how the future is theirs to write,
Yes,
and that fear is the great destroyer, the mind killer, if you will.
yes,
And
yeah.
here we
Soji's
have the compass given by
Kestra.
yep.
Yeah, the daughter of Troy and Riker.
It wasn't working in previous episodes, but now it's pointing into true north.
Yes,
So it's like, it's all coming together. And they go into the transwarp conduit, and
and Narek is following them into the conduit.
yeah,
So
so really fun episode. Nothing really was gained here except for the Borg Queen.
yeah, this I feel this is a lot of setup for the last two episodes,
Yeah,
which I think are going to be
it's a two-parter.
yeah, close to a two-parter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just so happy that we get the Borg Queen
Yes. Return of the Queen.
because, oh man,
Yeah.
I love Seven.
Yeah, and it's an unexpected thing, but I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and just hearing the voice. I'm not gonna look for it,
Yeah.
but hearing her voice as the Borg Queen was like, whoa, it brought back memories of hearing that crazy distorted voice with the first time we hear the Borg.
Mhm.
Hope this wasn't a waste of your
Your time.
time.